Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the Conservation Commission meeting of July 3rd, 2024. The Wareham Conservation Commission will hold a meeting under Chapter 131, Section 40 of the General Laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6, and any other applicable laws. All hearings of the Wareham Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Town of Wareham Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Division 6. Although a single decision of the Commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. All matters listed may involve a decision and possible vote. Roll call, please. Start with Jessica.
Jessica Parr.
Joseph Still.
Paula Jean O'Neill.
Autumn Wood.
Sandy Slavin.
Kwame Barty.
Michael Mercier.
Denise Schultz.
Scott Sobey.
And welcome, Scott, our new associate member. Thank you for stepping up. We appreciate it. And I want to thank everybody sitting here. It is July 3rd. I know what tomorrow is, and thank you for coming the day before a holiday. It really backed us up having Juneteenth as the last meeting date that we didn't hold. So I do appreciate everybody showing up, including those out there that are here for a hearing. All right, I think that does that. Please, the first, Carol is not with us, so Kwame will be acting as our clerk and reading our hearings.
Okay,
Thank you, Kwame.
Buckle up. Thank you. Okay, the notice of public hearing pursuant of the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and Wareham Wetlands Protected Bylaw, Division 5. A public hearing will be held in room 520, Wareham Multicultural Center, 48 Marion Road, Wareham, Mass. On Wednesday, July 3rd, 2024 at 6 p.m. on the request for abbreviated notice of resource delineation for Mark
Turin.
Sorry. P.O. Box 486, East Wareham, Mass. 02538. Confirmed.
Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Confirm the location and classification of wetland resource areas on portions of the site as highlighted on the NRAD plan, map 129-01005A, lot 129-0-1018, 152, and 155, Glen Charlie Road, Wareham, Mass.
Is there anybody here for this particular project? Maybe they're having trouble finding a place to park. Parking was a tough one.
Oh, Josh is here.
Well, Josh is here.
Seat was stolen.
Yes, your seat was stolen.
No worries. I'll go over here.
Wow,
but
look
there's
at
no-
Josh's shirt. Wow, that thing is sharp.
No microphone.
If you can steal that mic in the end there.
Thank you. I didn't thank you for coming.
No problem.
I thought you were zooming.
Didn't take long, did it, Josh?
Oh, double ears action.
Man.
Wow.
He's fine. He's a strong kid. All right, we're good.
And Josh Faraday is joining us. Thank you. So we're here for the Mark Turin. Anybody here for that? If not, I'd take a motion to, they didn't ask for a continuance, did they?
Yeah,
Yes.
July 17th.
Okay, so,
Motion to continue till July 17th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to continue until July 17?
Correct.
I have that motion, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained?
600.
600. 600. So we are continued. Next hearing, please.
I do have to say that I actually did a small little error. It's Division 6. I don't know why I keep saying 5. It's Division 6.
Oh,
Sorry.
it's that little
Do we have to
I
vote to open the hearing?
You can see. I
Do we have
can't
to
see.
vote to open the hearing?
We didn't vote to open the hearing? I didn't vote to open the hearing? I guess
that
not.
last one?
Yeah.
Well, if we
Didn't open
continue
it.
in
Well, no, I took, okay, sorry.
I think
I
you're
will-
fine.
You think you're fine? I will try to be better.
I think you're good.
I was watching a Wimbledon match, and it got me hyped up. So here we go. We'll try to calm down and continue. Next hearing, please.
Okay, this is a request for determination of applicability for Peter Ambrose, 14 Church Green, Taunton, Mass. 02780. Demolition of existing commercial structures and the construction of a new commercial structure, bank, associated utilities and stormwater controls with an existing disturbed area. Map 109A, Lot 1032, 2512 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass.
Is there anybody here for this project? I have one participant online. Yes, please. Let them in. And they can identify themselves.
Is this where we should motion to open the hearing?
He opened it.
You did?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, he read it into the record. You
You
need to
read it
take
in-
a, you need
Oh,
to take
yeah,
a
that's
vote
right,
to.
too. I have to physically say, yes. I need a motion to open the hearing for Peter Ambrose.
I motion to open the hearing.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
I keep forgetting about that point, because Judy made us add it, and I keep forgetting it. Thank you for reminding me.
Madam Chair, can you hear me?
Yes, and please identify yourself.
Okay, my name is Sean Leach. I'm PLS and engineer for Northeast Engineers, representing Peter Ambrose and the Taunton Federal Credit Union regarding 2512 Cranberry Highway for request for determination of applicability for the activities listed. Do you want me to share my screen, or how do you want me to proceed?
If you feel comfortable sharing it, please do, and that was Sean Lynch, L-E-N-C-H?
Leach. That's Leach, L-E-A-C-H.
L-E-A-C-H.
ACH.
I'm going home.
Sorry.
Getting a little too early for 4th of July parties there? Anyway,
I'm not sure.
I'm sorry, Mr. Leach, go ahead.
I'm sharing my screen, hopefully, now.
Not yet. On.
Can someone do one of the lights in the back, please? I don't want them both off, but just one of them. Thank you.
Can you see my screen now?
Other one.
Other one.
So it does make a difference. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes, we can, thank you.
Okay, so this lot is located almost across the street from the police station on Cranberry Highway. There was an existing business and other building on the site. I believe they sold picnic tables and things along that line. It's paved. It was paved parking lot. There was an entrance and an exit out on Route 28. And there was a parking area alongside the back here, almost to the limit of the property line. There's a fence along the property line, and there's a developed site behind the site itself. What we're asking for, and it's already happened, is basically what's going to happen here is there's going to be construction of the Taunton Federal Credit Union is going to be constructed here, and we're asking for determination as to any applicability. We don't believe there's any wetlands within 100 feet of the site. The site is previously developed, and we're not intending to increase any of the disturbed areas that are already existing right now, and it's almost completely disturbed. The tree line runs right along the property line, and everything between this tree line and the highway has been either paved or disturbed or existing lawn, and this is the existing house that was there. And what we're looking for is just a determination as to any activity that might need a requirement to be filed with the Conservation Commission as part of the notice.
Anything else?
I believe that's it. I could share
I will
another.
start the questions. Any, Jessica?
None for me.
No questions.
Amber?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
That's Autumn.
I already went by Autumn.
You said Amber. So that's a minor correction.
This is not going to be my better night.
That's okay. I just wanted to correct you just in case.
I thank you.
No questions for me.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Denise?
No questions.
Let me see if I get this right. Scott?
No
Yes.
questions.
Did I get it right?
Yes.
I have none. I apologize. I have no idea why I'm off tonight. I even had a nap. Okay, is there anybody online or in the audience who would like to comment on this project? Josh, your comments, please.
I believe he's right. I don't think there's any jurisdiction within 100 feet. The recommendation is a -1 and a -6.
And we sort of need this for planning or zoning or somebody,
Potentially, or they're doing it for their own due diligence.
that there is absolutely no wetlands involved in this particular project. So, hearing no questions or anything else, I'll take a motion to close the hearing.
Motion to close the hearing?
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. The hearing is closed.
I motion to approve with the -1 and a -6 determination?
I second.
I have that motion, and I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, with 600. The hearing is closed. The project is acknowledged and approved as a -1 and 6, so it's closed. Okay, thank you. Have a good 4th.
Thank you, you also. Have a good night.
Next one, please.
Okay, this is a request for determination of applicability for Yusuf Enterprise LLC, 2889 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass. 02538. A bordering vegetated wetland is located along the western boundary of the subject property. The existing site is developed with a building, paved parking, drives, and associated utilities. Map 129, lot 1134, 288 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass.
I'll take a motion to open the hearing.
I motion to open the hearing?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 6-0. Hearing is open. Is there anybody here representing this project?
Yeah, good evening, Madam Chair. My name's Bob Rigo. I'm the civil engineer for the project for Hawk Environmental.
Okay, Bob, can you spell your last name for our...
Or R-E-G-O.
Thank you. Make sure we're right in the minutes, okay? And you're up to talk to us about the project.
This project is on a location, it's an existing commercial site on the northerly side of Cranberry Highway. It's fully paved. It currently, well, it was formerly a car wash. Now currently it's a used car auto lot. So what they're looking to do is keep all the pavement, everything exactly the same, stormwater drainage, everything the same as it now exists, but they want to enclose the two sides of the building. So they just want to build, basically wall in the existing building on top of what is already a paved surface. There's a concrete walk which extends around the front and rear of the building, and they just want to basically put walls down along that building and basically enclose the building as it is with no further changes. There's a bordering vegetated wetland along the westerly side of the property. So, but like I said, there'll be no land disturbance at all with this, for this project.
Okay, questions? Jessica?
No questions.
Joe?
None for me.
No questions.
Amber?
No,
Autumn. Season.
that's me.
She's the season.
I even thought about it. Autumn.
Yes.
I even wrote it down. Autumn.
My
I
only
looked at-
question on the map is it shows a distance between the edge of the building and the parcel property. Was that meant to be to the edge of the bordering vegetative wetlands?
No, that was to the property. That was
Okay.
more of a zoning. setback.
Okay. And you can confirm that this is outside of the 30-foot no activity zone for the wetlands?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Well, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
Autumn kind of already beat me to it. It's just that one small area behind the building outside the 30-foot wetlands, that's it.
Yep, the one small area behind the building, and again, it's already a concrete walkway which exists there. We're just putting walls on top of
Right.
it essentially.
And actually, I'm just not going to pick on you specifically, but Madam Chairman, not just here specifically, but I noticed a lot of projects this week and didn't have stakes on them at all, and it was very difficult to try to see where the project was actually going to be located. I think only one actually had stakes located on them. So I just want to point
Yeah.
that out. So I thought about bringing it up in the last project.
No, I
Didn't,
totally
but-
understand going to an empty site and saying, well, where are they putting what and where? I can't tell. Yes.
So I just thought I'll just bring that up. So
But
thank
we
you.
can very well start saying if there are no stakes posted at the time the ads are issued? Or, I'm trying to think, at what point should we say we want stakes so when we visit, we know what's happening?
I would say the entire commission usually goes out the week before, so 2 weeks before the hearing.
So when we get when we see the ads, the stakes should be there.
Sure.
So we can say when the ads have been posted and we're notified of it, the stakes should be present so that anybody goes out there at any time prior to the hearing. We could very well ask for immediate continuance if they're not so staked. So not picking on you, but it happened on a lot
Like I
of
said,
today.
of these, I think of the 7 projects I visited, I think only 1 had stakes. So I think that's a little tough to
Yep.
visit the project. So I just thought I would bring that up. Thank
And
you.
some of these were hard because they were in the woods.
And that- Or
Yeah.
or even in this case, on concrete, but still.
On concrete, which would have been,
Yeah.
a paint marker would have been
Spray paint.
sufficient in those places if a stake could not be entered, so,
Anyway,
okay, Denise,
Obviously, all construction is going to, and debris and everything is going to be taking place already on the paved area, and anything will be removed that needs to be removed and disposed of.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you.
Scott,
There's some construction debris, trash just off the backside. Looks like it's within the 100-foot zone. There's some rusting wheels and things back there. Is that part of the project to clean that out as well?
It wasn't part of but certainly we could make that part of the project. Yes, yeah, that can be removed as part of the project, yes.
Thank you. No more questions.
is there anybody in the audience or online that would like to comment on this project? Nobody? So, Josh, your comments, please.
Hearing Scott's concerns, I would say you want to issue a -3, -6 with a condition of the removal of debris before work starts.
I motion to close the hearing.
second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600.
I motion to approve with a -3 and a -6 with the special condition that there's the removal of debris within the 100-foot buffer.
Aye, second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. You got it.
Thank you very much.
Clean up what's back there. It was probably back there before it became a
Thank
car
you.
lot, but
That's fine, yep, thanks.
we found it. They found it. Yes, I'm sure it's been there for a while, but it got found. Thank you. All right, next hearing, please.
Okay, this is a request for determination of applicability for Daniel Brosi, P.O. Box 829, Onset, Mass. 02558. Construction of a 14 by 24 deck to front of the home per site plan. The deck will be constructed over existing patio. And do I have more? And paved driveway. See attached building plan. Map 11, lot 267,
Got it.
43 Riverside Drive, Onset, Mass.
Thank you. I have a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing's open. Anybody here to represent this project?
Yes, Dan Barossi.
Thank you. You're up to describe the project, please.
Say that again? I'm
You're up. It's your turn to tell us what you're
Okay.
going to do.
Basically, it's a, we just went over it, it's a 14 by 23-foot deck. 23 feet is the width of the front of the house, comes out 14 feet. The deck will be built over an existing patio and partially an existing driveway as well, too. And that's basically it. There will be two staircases, one on the left and one on the right side of the deck, partially built in.
Okay,
I think that's it.
questions around? Jessica?
No questions.
Thank you. Joe?
None for me either.
Paula Jean?
No questions.
Autumn? Did I
Thank
get it
you.
right?
You did, you got it right that time. I just have a couple of questions. So I noted that you have erosion controls on your plan. Could you share with us what type of erosion controls you'll be using?
I didn't do my contractor did the other part of it on the actual permit. So this was on hold, so I just came down here to show everything else. So I'm not sure what he's gonna use for erosion controls.
Okay.
I would assume, last time I did do something, we had the barriers we put up along the front of the wall.
Yes.
That's most likely will be.
Yeah, we like to see straw wattles, just
I'm
no
not
hay
sure
bales.
what
They
he
bring
has.
invasives.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Is there anything on the plan that identifies it? I don't think so.
No.
And then I also saw that on the plans you have an addition that will be going onto the dwelling, but we can confirm that that is outside the 100-foot buffer and that is not within our
Addition
jurisdiction.
going into the dwelling?
I think this was an old plan that they reused just
Yeah.
to show the deck.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
that's
I think
just-
the addition is already constructed.
Yeah, the addition's done. So all it
Okay.
is a deck. That's all this is.
Only what's in yellow is being added.
Yes,
Okay,
that's correct.
thank you. Those are my questions.
Yep, sorry about that. Oh, yeah.
Kwame?
I'm sure it's gonna look nice when it's done. What are you going to use for drainage? I mean, other than encapsulation for the water? I mean, it's just gonna,
Everything, right now, everything goes into the lawn, or it's forward, basically the driveway, I don't know what you call it, the elevation, it gradually goes to the street. So those are the only two areas that the water would come forward.
so it's not gonna be buried underground to some kind of,
Well, one of the things we're gonna do is, we're gonna put in another gutter above the front of the house, and it's gonna go towards the lawn.
yeah, that's all the questions I have. Thank you.
Michael?
I don't have any, thank you.
Denise?
Just going back to Autumn's, talking about the erosion control, it has to be something that does not contain any invasive seeds. So make sure that your contractor knows that,
Okay.
okay?
So now, I don't have to block my driveway, do I? It's just the front, last time it was on the front wall where the grass was, correct? Just want to make sure I have that correct. Okay, and I'll communicate that to the contractor.
And also, you're not removing any of the concrete that's underneath, you're just going over the top of it.
Well, the only piece is this top of the steps has to be dropped.
Okay,
That's it. Part of, the first step will be taken off, that's it. Everything else is staying.
staying there, okay, thank you.
Scott?
No questions.
Anybody in the audience or online will comment on this project? I'm seeing none. Josh, your comments, please.
Issue a determination -3, -6 with the condition of installing the erosion controls.
Are we going to have a particular type or just leave it up to the contractor? Straw wattles?
Or waddles, yeah.
Yeah. Wattles, straw doesn't contain seeds,
Sorry,
so
Right.
straw wattles are appropriate, yep.
Yeah.
okay.
So what it's called, straw walls, I just want to make sure I have it.
And I'll write it into the approval as well.
All right.
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close
Second.
the hearing and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing is closed.
I motion to approve with a -3 and a -6 determination with the condition that erosion controls will be installed.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. All in favor? I said that. I said that. 6, all in favor? Say it again.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. You're approved. Please don't do anything until you get the paperwork from Josh. But you're all set. Thank you.
Okay, so basically, the permit will come off of hold. It's on hold, it was on hold, so. once
Yeah,
it-
I'll be able to sign off on the building department permit.
Okay.
But you shouldn't start any work until you get our
Oh,
our
yeah, no,
approval. It'll probably be early next week.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a good 4th. All right, next one, please.
Okay, this is a request for determination of applicability for Dana Jr. That's 28 Idaho Street, Marshfield, Mass. 02050. And this is to replace the existing soil absorption system and add a pump chamber all outside the 50-foot BVW. Map 132, Lot 1018B, 2605 Cranberry Highway, Wareham, Mass.
Okay, motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The hearing is open. Is there anybody here representing this project? Anybody online? Josh, have you heard from them requesting a continuance?
No, I believe he was going to join via online. I believe it's Dana's iPhone. Dana, if you're there, can you raise your hand? There you go.
Is he in? Dana? Okay.
Yes, hello?
Yes, Please
Can you hear me now?
yes, we can. Please identify yourself.
Hi, this is Dana Jr. Sorry about my technical problems there. So I'm here to talk about 2605 Cranberry Highway. You can still hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, great. So this is an existing 38-seat restaurant. It's a takeout pizza place. And an existing building with existing pavement all the way around the building. The existing soil absorption system or the leaching area has failed, which is out front of the building, between the building and the street. And we're proposing to do a new leaching area to the left of the building, between the left side of the building as you're looking at it from the street and the lot line to the left. We've pulled the system as far as we can towards the street to try to get it away from the BVW, which is behind the building, and we've been able to get the leaching area at least 51 feet away from the wetlands out back. So we plan on keeping the existing grease trap, which is behind the building. That's only about 30 feet away from the BVW now, but we're not going to plan on doing any work to the existing grease trap or the existing 1,500-gallon septic tank, which is to the left of the building also. We plan on adding a pump chamber, as you can see on the plan there, and then the soil absorption area. Now, everywhere where the soil absorption area is and the pump chamber, any disturbed area that we propose to disturb is currently paved right now. So we'll be tearing up the pavement in that area and then installing the pump chamber and the leaching facility. The leaching facility is approximately 2 feet higher than the existing pavement with a retaining wall, a landscape tie retaining wall all the way around it. So we're not going to have any unstable slopes or anything like that. And there's still about, I'd say 20-25 feet of pavement, existing pavement between the disturbed area and the BVW that will be still left. All of the drainage flow and all will all remain the same as it is now, although there'll be less paved area within the 100-foot buffer zone. This leaching facility will be, again, raised about 2 feet, surrounded by landscape ties, and the top of it is proposed to be grass. So we've tried to keep all the disturbance just about 50 feet away, at least the leaching area facility itself 50 feet away. And we've done our best to get it as far away as we can. We did need a 5-foot variance to the lot line in order to get this approved at the Board of Health, and they just approved that at the last meeting about an hour ago. So let me know if you have any questions, as this is a repair and we're not increasing flow at all.
Thank you. Okay, questions? Denise? Will, Jessica?
No questions.
Joe?
You mentioned the current site right now has concrete over where this unit is, so there would need to be concrete removal. Is that what
Asphalt.
you said?
It's all asphalt pavement right now, yes.
Gotcha. Now, what are you planning on? Are you having an on-site dumpster you're going to put in there? Is it just going to sit outside until the rest of the project is done? Or?
No, we're going to truck it away.
Gotcha.
We're going to, as we tear it up, we'll truck it away, off-site.
Okay. Thank you. No more questions.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Autumn?
Could you please describe the erosion controls that you'll be using for this project?
I don't show any on the plan right now. However, we can put from the back of the building around between obviously the leaching area and the wetlands. We can do a straw wattle there. It won't be able to be staked in or anything because it's going to be on top of the existing pavement. But we can put that right around so that nothing goes towards the wetlands.
Wonderful, thank you.
Welcome.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
No questions, thank you.
Denise?
No questions.
Scott?
No questions, thank you.
I have a question. With this leaching field 2 feet higher than the pavement, will there be a problem coming in your second entrance?
There should be enough area to get through because he does have parking out front, and that was one of the issues of why he asked me to put it out front, but because it's going to be raised, it's going to ruin his entrances and his parking. So that's why we tried to jam it on the side and get it as far away from the wetlands as we could. So we should still have enough area to get in and out of both entrances. As you're looking at the building from Cranberry Highway, there's a very large entrance to the right, as you can see, and that's a huge amount of pavement to the right of the building. So there's plenty of parking and area to get around in and out on that side. But we do plan on keeping the kind of U-shaped flow of the traffic with both entrances. So there should still be at least, say, 12, 15 feet to get by between the island along Cranberry Highway and this little 2-foot railroad tie wall.
Okay, I just hope they don't come in that entrance with speed.
Yes.
Anybody in the audience or online that would like to comment on this project? Josh, your comments, please.
The recommendation is a -3 and -6 with the addition of the straw wattles for erosion controls from the building over to the edge of the parking lot.
Okay,
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed.
I motion to approve with a -3 and a -6 determination with the addition of straw wattle erosion controls.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. You're approved. Do not start any work until you get the paperwork from Josh. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Have a great 4th.
Yep, you too. Next,
Bye-bye.
please.
Okay, this is a request for notice of intent for Mary Taylor, 104 Pinehurst Drive, Wareham, Mass. The applicant proposes to restore the property to its previous conditions from 2020 by removing the paver patio and turf platform areas. We propose that the fire pit and perimeter fence to remain as is, as there was an existing fire pit in 2020. The property is located within a mapped FEMA Flood Zone VE map 46A-1, lot 46, 104 Pinehurst Drive, Wareham, Mass.
Make a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And please come forward. Who's coming forward to represent this project? Identify yourself.
Good evening, Andrew Stackpole from Field Engineering out of Mattapoisett, representing Ms. Taylor. Here to review the project with you. This project is a result of...
Sorry. I'm going to ask you to spell your last
Yes.
name, please.
Stackpole.
Okay, and if you're, all right, and you're going to want to be heard, so if you're going to the board,
I can pull it up here, I think.
Yeah. and Mary, for the record, identify yourself, please.
Mary Taylor.
Thank you.
So this project is a result of an enforcement action. Ms. Taylor had done some improvements to her patio area without her awareness of the regulations requiring her to do a notice of intent beforehand. She invested over $35,000 in replacing her patio. These aerial photos show try to show before and after photos of the existing system. Basically, she had a grass area in front of her house sloping down to a retaining wall with a fire pit that was existing on the left side of the property. She hired a contractor to come in, replace the grass with some artificial turf, and extended a ceramic, basically paver system out from the house to allow her to have a safer transition from her deck, which was below the overhang of the building, to her front area, yard area. So what we're proposing is to just replace, or the system that, go back with the system that was there in 2020, basically removing the artificial turf, which are two basically 14 by 8 areas with loam and sod. So basically it's going to be all handwork. They'd have to come in. They've got basically 6 inches of stone dust, loose gravel underneath this astroturf. Take up the astroturf, take that out, put some loam down, and then put some sod over the top of that to stabilize it immediately. And then outside her property, there's another area where she stores some kayaks. She'll be replacing that with loam and sod also. As far as the paver and patio areas, she'll be removing the pavers from the deck area immediately adjacent to the building, and pulling it back to where her steps come down from her upper patio area, which is underneath the overhang of her building. The cross-section I gave on the plan shows that we're going to pull back the last step about 2 feet so she can have a safe transition down from her upper patio area. Originally, it came back a little bit. You can see where it was. We're going to come back 2 feet from the existing step down from the stairs. We are proposing silt fence along the outside of the existing fencing area with a wattle on the inside. Very short-lived. That can stay for as long as once the grass takes, then it can be come out and checked. Maybe Josh can come out and check it, and we can remove that when everything's stabilized. We also have a request in that she has the pavers also went beyond the 30-foot no-touch zone and to the right of the building. She's going to cut those down to a 3-foot wide path and then extend up. She basically has a old wooden slat system that's just basically on top of the soil. She'd like to put pavers in to continue it up to reduce any erosion that occurs and make sure that there's no any foot traffic across there doesn't cause any other erosion problems. And that's pretty much we have for total scope of the project.
All right. Jessica.
No questions.
Joe.
None for me.
Paula Jean.
No questions.
Autumn.
So this project is within our 30-foot no activity zone. We do have justification within our bylaw to allow for this work. And I just want to note that I think this falls within the justification because it is removing unlawful work that occurred without permit, and it will be bringing the land back to a more natural state for the protection of the environment and erosion.
Kwame.
No questions, thank you.
Michael.
No questions here, thank you.
Denise.
I wasn't here for the enforcement hearing, so I have no questions.
Scott.
No questions, thank you.
What type of vehicle or construction, how will you remove the pavers? Will you be bringing in any type of machinery or anything like that to lug them away?
There's going to be a dumpster.
No, I mean, is it going to be removed by hand, or are you going to have a
Yes.
hand,
All manual.
Yeah, it's
all manual?
Basically, everything has to come through this side path, so
Which
it's
is
gonna
very
be-
narrow, and
Yes.
you don't want to lose all those plants. Put
Right.
in a bobcat in there.
Right, so basically wheelbarrow, with dual wheels on it, and it's very labor intensive.
And some of those stones will be able to be reused for the extension of your walkway.
Possibly,
Poss-
if they can be removed without breaking them.
Yep.
Okay.
We did a test case, and a few of them started to come up, so I think that's probably a good
Some of them
possibility.
would be,
Be able
but
to
everything
use.
that's not used will be removed from the property?
Absolutely.
Correct.
Okay. Anybody online or in the audience would like to comment on this particular project? Josh, your turn.
I do have one question. When we had our site visit, I think we had discussed potentially running a path from the deck down to the steps. Is that still,
Yes.
that's still the plan?
Yes.
Which path was that?
The path to,
It's a path straight from the edge of the deck down to the stairs. It was gonna be
Okay,
3 foot wide.
yes,
Oh, right.
Right, just
yes.
so the commission's aware of that, there is a proposal for some of the pavers to remain running from the staircase down to the staircase on the seawall. 3 foot wide is allowed within the bylaw under the exemptions of the 30-foot no activity.
Thank you. Your recommendation.
Standard order of conditions.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained. The hearing is closed.
I motion to approve with the standard order of conditions.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. You're approved. Please see Josh for the paperwork before you start the work. Thank you. Good fourth. Next one, please.
Okay, this is a request for a notice of intent for Christopher Socha, 6 Wareham Lakeshore Drive, East Wareham, Mass. 02538. This is to propose reconstruction of retaining walls, installation of sheet pile wall, removal of concrete pad, and installation of a lengthened dock. Map 120, Lot 34, 6 Wareham Lakeshores Drive, East Wareham, Mass.
I make a motion, I need a motion to open the hearing.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. Please identify yourself as you're going to represent the project.
Good evening, Brad Bertolo, JC Engineering, last name Bertolo. I hope you guys had a chance to take a look at this site. We did stake it out this past Friday,
You
so
were the only ones. Thank you.
Which one I think I'm referring to, but anyway.
I was trying to get it in a week ago. We were kind of backed up. So, if you are to the site, the property owner, or the property has this pretty old retaining wall system adjacent to the pond, along with a concrete pad that's kind of like a half-moon arched shape that's built, what appears to be, was built into the pond. It's probably many decades old. Current property owners owned it since 2017. There's even evidence of some repair to the original CMU block wall, because there was a second layer of precast interlocking block, kind of like keystone blocks that were water side of the existing wall. So we try to correct the situation and kind of maintain the similar retaining wall system on approximately the same footprint. So we're going to propose to remove the concrete that's within the pond, remove all the fill, any of the cobble that's below it, and try to get it back to natural grade. To help support the bank between the retaining wall areas, we are proposing to install some sheet piles that'll pretty much follow the original location of the pond, kind of just snap the line between the north and south sides of this concrete pad. The retaining walls that are there today are pretty much going to be removed in the same and replaced in the same footprint. We're using some larger interlocking block walls that'll wrap along the north, the west, and the south side. There is a stairway system that currently walks down from the grass yard to the lower area. It's really steep. It's about 8-inch steps, 8-inch. The CMU block, so it's 8 by 8 going down. So it's really steep. So to provide a more comfortable walking stairway, which will be constructed out of just like a deck material, pressure treated stringers and treads. In a hand.
And wider.
And wide, a little wider, yeah. Try not to go too wide. I didn't want to expand anything. But I had to offset the wall a little bit, basically considering it, I guess, a stairwell area. It's really not going to be access underneath it, under the stairway, but it'll allow for a stairway to walk straight down and leave just enough room at the bottom where they could at least take a left to the patio, or not patio area, but terraced areas, and then allow space to get out onto the dock. Regarding the dock, they do have an existing aluminum dock, but since we're kind of pulling back that concrete pad, and I need an additional 8-foot section of dock, so we're proposing to replace that dock or just add another section to it so that the end of the dock can maintain the water depth. They do have a boat that they store on the side of the dock. We anticipate access to come in from around the north side of the structure. We are proposing, an excavator to do the work. They'll have to probably ramp down and to reach out into the concrete pad area. We are proposing to jackhammer or grab it with excavators. I didn't want to saw cut it and create a dust that might get into the water. So we are proposing an erosion control line around that concrete pad, and then a secondary one will be on the north and south side of the sheet pile after that's installed. The sheet pile will be sticking up above grade, so there shouldn't be any erosion over the sheet pile, and the terrace is flat, so minimal runoff's going to occur in that patio or terraced area. If you have any questions on the project, I'd be glad to answer.
Right. Jessica.
No questions.
Joe.
None for me.
Paula Jean.
I noticed the lawn is quite steep going down to the dock area, and there's already some erosion there. There's a runoff and a little bit of a gully, as well as an area where some stones were taken out, and you can see that that's eroding. So is there a plan for immediately planting something, or sod, or what are you guys going to do?
Those stones used to be, I think, a retaining wall. They kind of show it just to the right side of that fire pit.
Yeah.
There was just one row or two stacked high of block. The proposed retaining wall that runs north and south will be just slightly above grade, and we'll kind of level it off for, I think it's going to be about 6 or 8 feet. It's going to kind of level off. But yeah, It will be restabilized after
And put in some
construction.
plantings or some seeding or,
Yeah, I mean, it's
you
going to
know.
probably just go back to the loam and
Okay.
seed that they
It just
had.
looks like it's one good rain away from washing into the pond.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Autumn,
No questions, thank you.
Kwame.
No, I was gonna say, when I visited the site, it was staked. Thank you, Brad. And I think the retaining wall will definitely help out with the erosion, because it's gonna definitely be an issue in the future if it wasn't addressed. But how, you said you're gonna replace the existing stairs and the dock, right? Now, currently that dock doesn't look that old, though.
Well, I'm gonna add to it.
I mean, I'm sorry. So
If he
you're
wants
gonna-
to buy a brand new, but I think it's an aluminum frame, and I think it's got like pressure-treated slats for the decking.
Right. Yeah, that's all the questions I had, actually. But I think it's a good project.
Thank you, Michael.
Again, following up on what everybody else said, Brad, thank you for sticking the site, I appreciate it. The stairs, that's going to be made out of wood instead of concrete, is that correct?
Yeah,
I read that
to
in the
keep the
report.
cost down, instead of trying to form the stairway with the precast blocks, I told let's just do straight walls, and then they can build, just like a deck, pressure-treated lumber.
Okay.
It'd be a lot cheaper for the property owner.
And echoing on what Madam Chairman said, hopefully be a little wider, or at least
Yeah, I
maybe
haven't-
somehow trying to get down
Yeah.
easier, because it was awfully tough trying to get down the stairs earlier today.
Yeah, it's very steep.
I was just to say that. So anyway, that was all my concerns. Thank you.
Okay, Denise, I'm going to skip you. Wait, no. Scott, we want Denise to have the final word, because she's going to bring up the dock.
You don't trust me.
Just wondering about the order of these things. Could you just quickly go over the order in which these things happen, what's removed and then replaced?
Yeah, so I anticipate that the dock will be moved out of the way, temporary. It's a seasonal dock anyways. I believe that what they'll do is get rid of the concrete slab first, or use some of that to get some of the sheet pile installed, because it is a pretty stable, level area, at least to start installing the sheet pile, either, on the north or the south side. And then pull out the concrete, finish a sheet pile, and then work, landward to take out the old concrete walls, blocks, excavate for the new walls, backfill the behind the walls. Anything that's coming out will be trucked off-site, any of the existing concrete. They may try to save some of those interlocking block walls if they work, because I do have that interior I terraced it so that the wall on the west wouldn't be as tall. I'm trying to lessen the height of the wall, and that's a smaller little interblocking wall that's halfway between the sheet piles and the big wall. So they do have blocks there that would work, but I don't know the condition of them once they pull it apart. So they might have to take all of it out and just buy all new material.
Thank you.
Okay,
I have just a couple of questions, Brad.
just a
And
few.
I do just have a
I
few.
know.
You mentioned that it was a seasonal dock. It's still going to be seasonal afterwards, so where will they be storing it?
It's going to have to be up in the lawn area. Yeah.
Where do they store it now?
I don't know. The property owner told me he left it in for the winter, and I don't know how he did, because I think it would get
think it'd
destroyed
be
by the
frozen.
ice.
Everside. Sorry.
Okay. I noticed that there was chunks of concrete in the water just laying out in front. Obviously, we'd like that to have removed. There's all kind of debris at the top. Up on the top area, over to the right, there's a pile of like concrete and all kind of material and stuff just laying there.
It could be so that fire pit, and just to the right of the fire pit is that same shape as the concrete wall. It's right below the word Profile A.
Yeah.
That was a small little block retaining wall that when I went out to take pictures for the application,
This is all
They-
up on top, all the way up top.
in the yard,
Yeah,
the backyard, or the
Yeah,
pond.
the backyard.
Yeah, so halfway between the pond and the house.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so that was probably, they might have took that and stacked it off to the side.
okay,
so-
we'd like to see all that debris obviously removed.
Yeah,
They talked about a seed mix, revegetating with a seed mix and low bush blueberry shrubs. Obviously, we'd like to see natives seed mix.
yeah.
State native.
Sometimes I put
They don't state native, but I would like you to
a New
state-
England Conservation Wildlife seed mix is a
Excellent.
typical seed mix usually specify.
And thank you for the blueberry bushes. They're really a nice addition, and they help with our butterfly larvae, which is
Okay.
really nice. All right, pile of debris, concrete, that's 1, 2. 3 was the native planting. 4 was the blueberry bushes. That's all I have. Thank
Okay,
you.
Was the dock ever permitted?
I wasn't gonna ask.
I thought you would.
Wasn't gonna
I
ask.
thought you would. I mean, is there a
It's good
Chapter
que-
91 on that
It's a good question,
dock?
because this is on a, DEP has a Great Pond list. This pond's not listed as being a great pond. But this is the first step in moving forward if a Chapter 91 license is required. So that's why we proposed the dock, because if we're going to go forward with Chapter 91, we need an approval from this board or commission first.
So the intent is to put in an 8-foot section to accommodate the pier from where it is now to the new sheet pilings because of that concrete semicircle being removed.
Yes.
And there's plenty of water, so the far end of the dock is not going to change. They're just putting something
Yeah.
close to the land side,
Correct.
but it's probably not permitted. So we probably could put an order of conditions that it has to be removed in the winter and stored on upland.
That's perfectly fine. It's-
I'm just thinking, yeah,
I would if it was mine. The ice would probably
I'm
damage it.
surprised, because all it is sitting on pads, on concrete blocks in the water,
Yep.
you know, like, okay.
I scared them half to death going down the steps. I thought the owner was gonna pass out.
Those steps were tough in Crocs. I had to do sidewoods. Okay, is there anybody online or in the audience who would like to comment on this project? Josh, your turn.
I'm very surprised this pond isn't on their Great Pond list. Just a comment, not
Yeah,
just surprising. It's definitely way larger than 10 acres.
it's not a natural pond either, because it's a dam. Dam
Really?
created that. May have been some pond, but
Yeah, still interesting.
yeah.
Just looking at the plan really quickly, this area of the, of the sheet pile.
Yep.
Is that driven all the way almost to the water line, or is that gonna be sticking up more?
I have it,
Are you gonna, I guess the question is, are you gonna keep the natural slope that's there, or is the grading gonna bring this area up to the edge of the lawn?
oh, no, it's
Okay.
the sheet pile is actually going to be the same elevation as the concrete pad.
Thank
So
you.
they have an easy step down from the terrace to
Okay.
the dock.
Okay, that was my only question. Recommendation is, approve the project with the standard order of conditions and that the aluminum dock be located outside of the 30-foot no activity zone, up in the yard.
And be removed in the winter? Yeah, be removed in the winter and stored upland.
Yeah.
And the debris has to be removed.
Was that debris outside of our,
No, I bet you it's,
I think the
it's a-
debris Denise is talking about is over here in the tree line.
yeah,
There's a big pile of stuff.
Yeah.
yeah.
so we could recommend,
Highly recommend.
highly recommend that all the debris on the property and to be created on the property be removed.
That's fine.
And not really a recommendation, it would be a condition.
Oh, even though it's outside of, even though it's outside of
Within
100?
the 100 foot,
Oh,
Oh,
it's
it is-
within 100 feet.
Oh, the
Yeah.
pile of,
Debris, yeah.
and it's
I
pretty close
walked
to
right by
your-
and it didn't see it. Sorry?
Because you were scared of the stairs.
Yeah, I was worried about the stairs and my Crocs.
I motion to close the hearing.
No, wait. Is there anybody online or on the audience who'd like to comment on this project? Seeing none, now you can.
I motion to close the hearing.
I'll second.
I have a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing is closed.
I motion to approve with the standard order of conditions with the special condition that the aluminum dock is to be removed in the winter and stored upland outside of the 30-foot no activity zone, and with the condition that the debris is removed from the property.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600, done.
Thank you.
And don't start the work until Josh gives you the paperwork. And have a good 4th.
You too.
Okey dokey, we're down to continued hearings. We have 6 Valley Road. Where's my paperwork on 6 Valley Road?
That's what I'm going to refer to.
Okay. All right, this is a continued hearing.
Good evening, Attorney Jillian Morton here for the applicant.
Brian Grady, GAF Engineering.
Joseph DeBacco, a budding neighbor, 51 Robinwood Road.
So to recap where we're at the last hearing, Mr. Madden had presented that we're run into an issue where our clients who own 6 Valley Road have identified that there is a part of Mr. DeBacco's dock on their parcel. At that hearing, you had inquired regarding the titles to both 51 Robinwood and 6 Valley Road. So the clients engaged me to be able to look at the titles. I submitted to you initially both full title reports just so you could have all the information. And then I provided to you a follow-up with the actual certificates of title, which are from Land Court. So those put the encumbrances on both properties and then just kind of went through each one so you could look at the different information on what the access rights were. In my opinion, there was no Chapter 91 license for the dock. There's also no access rights that were given from my client to the 51 Robinwood. So we would like to seek a determination from the commission on this. So happy to answer any all questions of what was submitted.
Okay. Josh, I think I'm going to go to you first. Can you help us through this?
Yeah, so the question being asked by the applicant is the area depicted on the plan jurisdictional to the commission, which it clearly is. So that would be a recommendation of a +1 determination. The other question that came up within that application is the dock licensed and legal, and how has the commission held other standards of docks within the jurisdiction, which is you guys have issued enforcements, required notice of intent to remove unlicensed structures. So if that is the standard that the commission is holding, it would be the recommendation to issue enforcement on both properties, saying you have an illegal structure tied to your land, and it needs to be removed with the filing of a notice of intent.
Part of the dock on the land is one owner, and part of the dock passes over land as it goes over the marsh. So that's why it's on both properties.
Correct.
Okay. I guess, Jessica, I'm putting you up first. You've had a chance to read Julian's report?
I did.
Any comments?
I guess I just want to get really clear on what's being asked of us. So are we being asked to issue an enforcement order? So the applicant has a property but doesn't own the dock and wants us to issue an enforcement order on the abutter's dock that crosses over their land, maybe?
No, the only thing that's being asked of you is to determine if the area identified in Mr. Madden's plan is jurisdictional.
Okay.
The subsequent ruling that the commission has made on illegal structures, this was the way to get the illegal structure identified to the commission. I said it at the last hearing. You guys are being weaponized to remove this from someone else's property. It's not the first time you've been weaponized either.
So the dock is an illegal structure? And
From what we understand, there is no Chapter 91 license, and there was never any notice of intent for it in front of the Wareham Conservation Commission.
at any time. So the dock was built without approval by conservation, dock was built without any Chapter 91 approval, and it was part of the dock's on someone else's land, and part of the dock goes across another person's land. That's my understanding, correct?
Yep.
And your recommendation is that a notice of intent be filed by both landowners to remove the illegal structure?
The commission has the ability to impose enforcement on property owners. So with part of the structure being on one property and part of the structure being on another property, it's the recommendation to enforce on both property owners.
Do we have information sufficient to make a determination that it is illegal?
Yeah, no existence of the Chapter 91 would make it illegal.
Okay, no matter when it's built?
Correct. And even if it, let's say it was licensed at one point, and if the license expired, if it was never transferred properly, those are still qualifiers for it to be expired and illegal. So even if it did exist at one point, if those two criteria have been met, or either one of those criteria have been met, it would still be illegal. That would give you a little bit more wiggle room to approve it. But, you know, the bylaw clearly states docks within shellfish habitat shall be denied, and you have multiple resource areas that are impacted by this. And I think there's also an issue of water depth at the end of the dock as well, which you guys call out in your bylaw. Proper water depth for boats.
Anything else? Jessica?
I mean, it's a yes or no question, right? Or is it subject to the wetlands bylaw?
Yes.
Yeah, then no other questions.
Joe?
If the commission, let's just say, you know, issued an enforcement that the dock goes away, would it be the entire dock or just the area that's approaching on the property?
The entire dock would have to be removed. We couldn't leave half of a structure in the water.
Is that all part of what we're voting on tonight? Are we just voting on the yes or no, is it subject to, or are we also voting on an enforcement order?
Oh, what's in front of you right now is an RDA on whether it's jurisdictional. Whether you guys want to make additional motions for enforcement, that's up to you at this point, but the question in front of you right now is the area jurisdictional?
Which means, is it within our bylaws to
Is it a-
oversee this site? And the answer is yes.
Is it a resource area
Yes.
or is it jurisdiction of the commission? Yep.
Okay. Paula Jean?
No questions?
Autumn?
I have no questions, but I was not here for the first hearing.
Okay. Did you,
I did not.
okay. Thank you. Kwame?
Oh, my head's spinning on this one, but, I mean, you said everything that I needed to hear, Josh. It's within our jurisdiction to say what we need to do. But I don't know if I feel comfortable making if it's not part of the property, or if it's within our jurisdiction to say we can't have that dock there, I understand, but at the same point, it's on somebody else's property too as well, correct?
Yes.
So that's one thing, it's very hairy for me. I have to really think on that one. But I really don't have any other questions, Josh. You made excellent assessment what we need to go with, so thank you.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as Kwame here, because my head's spinning here too, because I knew at the last meeting something was up. When I said, when it said no work is proposed, but I said that can't be true, because you knew something down the line, something was up. Also, when, Josh, I think you may have answered the question best here. If you put a enforcement order, you said the whole dock has to be removed, so the whole thing, meaning that if owner A keeps like his percent, and owner B keeps like his percent, that's not a possibility. The whole thing, 100% is removed. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, the structure was built illegally,
Right.
from what we can tell. If the enforcement would be to each property owner to remove the section of dock on your property. But with that being said, we're gonna have to figure out for the rest of the remaining dock to be removed. I don't think in good conscience we can leave half of a structure in the water knowing that, storm surges and things could break it free and pose potential safety risks for boaters.
Can we answer the jurisdictional question only?
You can.
That is what is in front of us.
That's all.
Yep.
If I may, Ms. Chairwoman, you do have authority also to take other action. We have, if you've read through the pamphlet, my clients now, if someone's walking down that section and someone falls and breaks their neck, they're liable, right? It's on their property. So for me, I would like to see something from the commission if possible, prohibiting access. We put signs, private property. You also can see it's brand new pressure treated wood that Mr. Tobacco put down. So I understand it's a lot of information to take in, and you don't want to make a formal enforcement, but it would be nice to see something from the board.
Josh, is it possible to have two conditions placed, two motions made? One to handle the issue over jurisdictional, and the second one to require a notice of intent. Can we make them as two separate motions?
Yeah, I mean, so
To separate the two, so that we don't try to do it all in once, but if we do. I'm only trying to see what the hearing is for, but
yeah, so
the hearing has determined that it is within our jurisdiction, that the dock is within our jurisdiction. Then, based on what we're hearing, it's an illegal structure, and we have required illegal structures to be removed in previous hearings.
But wouldn't we, in those situations, give the respondent an opportunity to come back with information or
Well-
prepare or bring their own, research?
We could very well, when they come back with a notice of intent, they can make their case. Because we're here just to say jurisdictional, and it's,
Right, so.
yeah. But then we would require a notice of intent by both landowners, and they can make their point at that time. Because we're not going to say remove the dock here, because that's not what the hearing is for.
Right.
That's why we need notice of intent for removal of the structure, and then we can talk about whether or not there's something we haven't uncovered. Right, Josh? I think so.
Sounds right. All right, Jillian, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I know wetlands. I don't know property rights and things of that nature. What's stopping your client from moving the section of the dock that's located on their property?
That's a great question through the chair. They did have discussions with the abutter to try to tell them it was on their property and see if it could get removed. Those discussions didn't go well. There was possibly maybe going to be like some sort of a agreement to let them have it, but then they decided they needed to move forward to get an engineer to figure out that it is definitely on their property. I don't think it's a situation that they want to remove something that Mr. DeBacco had put into place if.
I didn't put it there. It was there when I bought the property.
Yeah.
It's been there for 50 years plus.
I'll speak to you, the chair. As far as what you've done in the past, I'm seeing that if you don't say that this has to be removed, then it's changing what you've done in the past. So I would rely on what has been done in the past when you found illegal docks.
Or illegal anything.
Illegal structures.
Yes.
Yeah.
Denise, your turn.
Okay. This actually forced me to go and read Chapter 91, which was interesting. Did find out that the state of Massachusetts has an official dinosaur. What I'm seeing this comes down to is under Chapter 91, the structure, regardless of size, requires the authorization of a Chapter 91. Page 2 of 6 of Chapter 91, the Massachusetts Public Waterfront Act. And then under the Wareham Ways and Rules 105.8, every pier and/or dock in or upon the waterways within the town of Wareham will be licensed in accordance with applicable federal, state, local laws and regulations. Does the dock have a Chapter 91? No. The time frame for filing the Chapter 91, when Chapter 91 came into existence, has expired. Even if there was a Chapter 91 and it was issued legally for this dock, the one-year time frame for the filing of the new owner to take over the Chapter 91 has expired. Demolition and removal of the structure is required under both Chapter 91 and the Wareham bylaws. The dock is on the neighbor's property and would not have been approved. Number 16, ownership of subject parcel. And then to make the matters a little more complicated, the demolition of the structure is going to need approval under Chapter 91. But the commission does have the authority to have this dock removed. It is an illegal dock, whether it's on one property, 2 properties, or 15 properties, it has to be removed. Is what I'm reading through Chapter 91.
I knew you would do your homework. Thank you.
I did. Do you want to know what the dinosaur is?
What is that?
It's a Pocosaurus halikensis, which is actually in the Tyrannosaurus family, but it's only 5 foot tall.
I wonder if they must have found bones in order to have that. Okay.
Yeah, they did.
Scott, your turn.
If you think I'm going to weigh in on this on my first meeting, but let me ask a hypothetical. Let's say that I'm, and I think probably the determination is very clear, and that's really the first function of the commission, is to make that determination, and then the other things will fall as they may. But let me ask this theoretical question, hypothetical. Let's say I'm sailing in the South Pacific over the winter, and Josh comes over to my house and says, "Oh, that looks like a nice place to build a dock." And he builds a dock there. And then I come home and see a dock, but also an enforcement action from the Conservation Commission because I'm the property owner. It doesn't seem right to me that I would be fined for someone else's action on my property. Just a hypothetical. I'm not going sailing this next winter.
I think we went into fines yet, did we? Did you handle fines at all?
No, we haven't gone there yet. We won't do that until we have the notice of intents. Yes, it's always the property owner's responsibility, whether you're present or not. I'm sure all of us are facing the issue of building permits that haven't been finalized. Always the homeowner's responsibility. It's my understanding. Yep. Okay. Is there anybody who would like to comment on this in the audience, at the table, or online?
So if I purchase this property and that dock...
You'll have to come closer to the microphone, thank you.
If I purchase this property and that dock was already there for decades, if just a small section of that dock is actually on my property, is that the only section of dock that I'm responsible for? I didn't put it there, I didn't build it.
Yep, it's on your property.
If it's on my property.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, please, Julian.
Oh, let him. Oh, I just didn't want to cut him off. Just through the chair, I did research the listing for this and the MLS listing that did say that it had, that the buyer would have to do due diligence to see if there's correct permitting for the dock. So that was disclosed. I don't, again, weaponizing, I'm just telling you that I also believe that there was pressure treated boards that were put on there. So there was work on the dock. It's not like he just found it how it was. If you've seen the dock, you can see that they're newer boards.
I put new decking on it, that was it. It isn't like I rebuilt the dock. And I looked at the MLS listing also, and it does not say due diligence. I actually have it printed out.
Well, not,
Neither here nor there, unfortunately.
I'm sorry?
That's neither here nor there,
That is right.
unfortunately.
It's not within,
It's not within our purview. We're here to go by the laws of the
I
state.
do have another question.
Laws, bylaws of the town.
wait 1 second. All right, your question.
After the last meeting, within a week after the last meeting, the next door neighbors went into the marsh and put in 2x4 signs in the water, and actually put wedges behind them to point up at my deck. And if you want me to bring these up to you so you can see them, I think it's in direct violation of the Wetlands Protection Act to put a structure in the water also.
Removal of the signs is appropriate.
Yes. And that would be, so we're here to say whether or not this Conservation Commission is required to oversee the existence of the dock.
Question
say-
being asked of the commission
Jeez.
is the area described on the plan jurisdictional to
Okay,
the commission?
so-
Which it is.
So that would be the motion to indicate
But you
that.
could also go further and have the dock removed.
No, that's another, I'm going to try to make two separate motions. I want one motion to handle the particular hearing that's in front of us.
Okay, so
Anybody else want any comments before we start? Yes?
At the last meeting, you also asked me if I had enough land or property to just build another dock. I'm in talks, I'm actually working with a local engineer to design and put in another dock. It will cross less than half of the marsh that the existing one is doing. It will be Chapter 91, and a small dock. It's under 600 square feet, and it's really not for a boat at all. It's just so that we can access the beach in front of our house by crossing the marsh. Is that still on the table?
Well,
I would strongly recommend that your engineer look at our bylaw. What you're proposing doesn't sound approvable.
Because of the shellfish? But that can't be reseeded?
The way our bylaw is written
If it
is,
is, in fact, even a substantial shellfish bed, which I really don't believe it is, it's a mud bog.
so,
I don't think
So-
you should be entertaining another NOI discussion at this time. You're bringing up an entirely different project. I really don't think you should be discussing that
But it
during this
may just
meeting.
make all of this go away quite easily, too.
No, it will
No,
not.
it will not
The
make
dock
any of
will
this
not,
go.
yeah. It was, have your engineer speak to Josh to make sure he totally understands our bylaws,
Okay?
because there's a good chance a new dock would not have been permitted, because you don't have the depth of water and all, there's other, we don't know why, but have that engineer speak to Josh and have him,
I'm
you know.
meeting with him next week, so.
Okay, so what we're talking about right now is we're going to,
So here's my recommendation, and I'll
I would
read
love
it
to
out.
have it.
Okay. The issuance of a +1 determination, which is the area described on the reference plans, is an area subject to jurisdiction under the Act, the Wetlands Protection Act. Removing, filling, dredging, or altering of the area requires the filing of a notice of intent.
So moved.
I believe that is the motion. We haven't closed the hearing because I think we're just continuing. We're just going to take this particular component of the hearing. And what, so your motion is to accept what Josh
Yes,
just said.
absolutely.
So that be the motion.
Second that?
I have a second. All in favor of Josh's, Paula Jean's motion?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to across the board. Jessica?
Aye.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Autumn?
I have to abstain.
Okay, abstain. Sandy Slavin, aye. Kwame?
I'm going to abstain too.
Michael?
Aye.
1, 2,
402.
4, 0, 2. So that puts that to bed. The next point is that we have an illegal structure, and I believe we should be making a motion to require a notice of intent from both landowners to discuss the illegal structure. Nothing to do with, just to cover the illegal structure. Should there be more than that?
I would just recommend that you do it under an enforcement order. Just saying that they should file the notice of intent really isn't binding in
Okay.
any way.
Do
So
we need to ratify the enforcement order?
you can do that now,
Okay,
and I'll bring it in for you guys to sign.
okay. I need a motion to ratify an enforcement order.
Can you give some detail on that?
It means we found a violation, and now we're just giving the approval of Josh to indicate that it is a illegal structure, and that enforcement order has been rendered, and that will require them to come back with a notice of intent. Correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that another step that you're putting in there? Why aren't you just going to a Chapter 91 demolition?
No, because we need the notice of intent to talk about the
Do
demo.
they?
You need a notice of intent to do work in a resource area. Removing the deck or the dock is work.
So they would
It
come back
requires
with an
approval from-
NOI for the demolition and the removal of the dock.
Correct.
That's what you're requiring.
No, right now, we're looking for a
She's talking about something totally
Oh.
different.
Yeah, we
Well-
need, in order to force them, sorry, in
Yeah,
order
can-
to make them
can I-
do the NOI, we need to...
just give the recommendation?
Please.
The recommendation would be to issue an enforcement order on the property owners of 6 Valley Road and 51 Robinwood for a legal structure on their property and to file a notice of intent for its removal.
Okay. That
How do we
is,
know who's responsible for removing what sections?
we'll talk about that when we have a notice of intent. So that be his, please repeat your motion one more time. Your
Recommendation.
recommendation one more time.
The recommendation is to issue an enforcement order to 51 Robinwood Road. Here, I guess let's handle this separately. The first recommendation is to issue an enforcement order to 51 Robinwood Road for an illegal structure within the resource area and a filing of a notice of intent for its removal.
That is one motion. Somebody make a motion to accept that motion.
So moved.
I have a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jessica? Paula Jean? Jessica?
I'm going to abstain.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Autumn?
Abstain. Do I have to abstain because I wasn't
No.
at the first hearing?
This is,
This is separate.
this
Oh, this
I
is
think this
separate?
is separate.
Okay.
Yes.
Aye.
Kwame?
Sorry. Yes.
Michael?
Chris said aye.
Sandy, aye. 1, 2,
501.
501 to,
The-
okay. 501 for the motion for Robin Wood.
What's the address, Josh?
51.
51 Robin Wood?
Robinwood? Now you need the motion for the other property.
So the motion for the other,
To issue an enforcement order for an illegal structure located on the property of 6 Valley Road and the filing of a notice of intent for its removal.
So moved. Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? Jessica?
Abstain.
Paula Jean?
Aye.
Autumn?
Aye.
Sandy? Aye. Kwame?
Yes.
Michael?
Aye.
So we're 501.
And as for your question, Mr. DeVaco, normally, it would be the responsibility of the illegal structure to remove the illegal structure in its entirety. They wouldn't just remove what was on their property and then leave the rest in the water. I think I'm gonna have to defer to town council on how we figure this one out. But we'll address that within the enforcement orders.
Can I ask a technical question?
Mm-hmm.
So in this RDA, are they asking the jurisdictional question regarding the part that's on their property only? Or do you have standing to ask for if an abutter's property is in the jurisdiction or not?
No. They are asking if the resource area is identified on the,
Entirety of the plan outside of their property?
this application is very similar to an ANRAD,
Yeah.
except we're not defining the resource area bounds. We're just defining as if it would be jurisdictional for them to do work there. So we're not defining the edge of the salt marsh, we're not defining land under water body or anything. Just if there was to be work done there, would it require the filing of a notice of intent?
And to answer your question, you can file an RDA on someone else's property.
Right.
I think that's it. Anything else? I think we need a motion to close the hearing.
I motion to close the hearing?
What happens with those signs? Is there any?
Oh,
Well, we gotta take those down.
before I close the hearing,
We gotta take those down. We gotta
order
open it
of
up.
enforcement to remove all signs placed in the marsh?
Yes, I'm trying to think if there's a simpler way to do it under the RDA that's in front of us. I suppose you could issue a +1 and a -3 with the condition of removing the signs that were placed.
This sounds very
Yeah,
questionable.
I don't know about it. I don't. Jillian, are you representing the applicant?
Yeah, I'd be Vietnamese. I'd be Vietnamese. I can't talk. I'm like you, Wimbledon, you know. We need protection. And we're gonna have to file the notice of intent. In the meantime, there could be someone walking on this property. I 100% understand if you want them removed from the wetlands, but perhaps there's some other way of, I don't know, making it so that people can't walk on the dock. I don't know.
They own the land where the dock starts.
Right, so
Can they
we'd have
put
to
the
put
si-
a no trespass right on the.
On their property, on the dock, on their property, and remove it out of the wetlands. Is that that will take care of it. You've put your notice, don't go walking on my property to get to this dock, is what they're saying. Come on, Josh.
No, I don't know enough about this, about,
Legal, it becomes legal,
About- is it-
but we need the signs out of the marsh.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. Well, I guess the dock is on our property, the actual wooden part, so we could put it on the wooden part, not, like in.
But they don't own the dock.
You own the land to the dock.
Don't touch my dock. Yeah, don't touch my dock.
So, do we need anything, or just ask that the applicant remove the...
Remove the,
Wait. I'm having comments on the back. Help us. What would you recommend?
well, it sounds like there are members of the board who want it removed and are agreeing with the opposition, so we'll have it removed.
Out of the marsh?
Yep.
Anything else? I think we just request that they remove from the marsh, as opposed to making a ruling on it. Thank you. All right, I think we're done. We can close the hearing on this one.
I motion to close the hearing.
I have a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
And a second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstain. Thank you for the headache.
Thank you.
No kidding. Unbelievable.
I asked if there was anybody here to speak, and no one came forward. Okay,
All set.
all set. The next hearing, David Darling, Water Whiz. Anybody here representing this project? I know, you're gonna say, finally, 4th of July will be here, and I'm still in this meeting.
Good
Thank
afternoon.
you. And identify yourself, please.
My name is Bo Akers. I'm an attorney at Bransky Levinson, here on behalf of the applicant.
Oh, we've never seen you before.
I know, this is my first time here, so thank you for having me.
Spell your last name for me.
Akers, and my name, Bo, is spelled Beau.
Madam Chair, what happened to 370 County Road?
Sorry?
What happened to 370 County Road?
Oh, I skipped over 37. I'm sorry, 37 County Road.
370.
Wait, Bo, stay here.
Stay, go.
I know.
Do it together.
Make a motion to take it out of order.
I motion to take Waterways out of order.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Please,
Aye. Aye.
Sorry, the scientist is here from BSC Group via Zoom.
Say that again?
The scientist is here for BSC Group via Zoom, and I just wanted them introduced as a panelist for this project.
Oh, for Waterways.
Matt Burns, you've met him multiple times already.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm so confused. So we're here on Waterways.
How's it keep
We
it?
closed the hearing.
Gonna open it up.
No, we're not opening it up.
Oh,
We closed the hearing.
no, we're just doing the order of conditions.
We're here to do the order of conditions that Josh shared with us. There were a couple minor word changes from the applicant. We've added 2 components to the order of condition. One is the trash must be picked up before the work starts, and that the wetland signs be installed that the Conservation Commission has to indicate that the land is no touch. So we have signs identifying wetlands.
Yeah, they're like 3 by 3 inch signs.
Yeah, those things. So I believe those were the 2 things that were being added to the order of conditions that were shared with us.
Correct. Those were,
Josh, what those signs, only on the portions that are along the resource area on the fence of the parking lot, right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That can be maybe narrowly or clarified there.
Okay. So were there any other comments in the order of conditions that were shared? And can you clarify the 2 changes that the applicant wished on those?
Yeah, let me pull up the order of conditions. So the additional order of conditions was resource area signs will be placed along the fence line of the proposed parking area. And the applicant just requested some clarity that they only need to be identified where the actual resource area is.
Okay,
So, for that condition, why don't we say, resource area signs will be posted along the fence line of the proposed parking area. Locations to be determined, by the land use coordinator.
okay. So, anybody had any comments that haven't been shared for these order of conditions that were issued? If not, the hearing is closed. Do not take any new information on this project. So I need a motion to accept the order of conditions as presented.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstained? Done.
Thank you.
So you have that order of conditions. Josh will make sure that the final ones are passed out to your applicants.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
All right? Thank you.
All right. Happy
Thank you all very much.
Same to you. All right. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry.
370 County Road.
Huh?
370 County Road.
370 County Road. And Josh did pass out the latest finding from Allen and Major Associates as a peer review of the final peer review of the changes. So,
Just, sorry to interrupt, can we go back? Was it a unanimous vote for the approval of the order of conditions?
I believe did I ask for a vote?
Yes.
You did, I just didn't hear it, sorry.
700.
600.
600.
Six?
Thank you.
Six, just six of you.
Oh, there's six of us.
Joseph is an
See, I'm
associate.
sorry. See, it's 600.
I just didn't want to have to go back and watch the hearing for the vote.
One,
Thank you.
600 to accept the order of conditions as,
As presented with the two additions.
okay. All right, we have a project, 370 County Road, and who's here representing to represent this project?
Attorney Jillian Moran here for the applicant.
Rich Rayom from Prime Engineering. We prepared the plans and the report.
And I apologize for skipping you.
That's all right.
So we're here for, we continued the hearing, waiting for the final review of our peer review report on the changes that were recently submitted. And he says, the changes made by the applicant appear to be minor in nature and can be administratively approved by the commission without further notification to abutters or public hearing. So he's good with the changes that have been made. So, absolutely, all of these solar panels are outside of our jurisdiction, outside of the 50-foot no-work zone, correct?
Right. The one thing is the fire captain wanted a 20-foot wide all-weather road.
Coming in.
All the way in. And that road, when it crosses between the old reservoir and the old bog, is within the 25-foot.
Yes.
It's all man-disturbed, you know, there's no vegetated buffer zone. He allowed us at that point to narrow the 20-foot down to 16-foot width.
Okay,
But the panels themselves are
are
remote.
outside of us. So-
On this plan, I've colored in green the wetlands.
Yep,
The area to the top of the plan is the reservoir. The area to the bottom is the old abandoned bog. And the panels on either side basically shed into a retention basin, not a detention basin. So the stormwater gets infiltrated into the ground and slowly feeds the wetlands.
okay. This has been before us for quite a while. I don't know if everybody here has attended every meeting or has acknowledged seeing the videos of prior discussions on this property. I'll leave that up to you to say whether or not you vote for this to indicate that you've heard all of the discussions. at the, maybe it's me, but at a hearing on planning on another site, this B guy talked about Inkberry. And Inkberry, and Inkberry, and all we've said in this site here is that we do native plantings. There is no...
Had a, excuse me, so we had a planning board meeting, and it was during that hearing that Mr. Zajac was there. Yep. So that is going to be a part of, we're doing the meadow, and we're talking about the pollination, so that is certainly something that's on the planning board radar. I know that they're a separate jurisdiction. They, and you can speak to Josh about this, but they were pretty close to approval, but we have to have conservation approval
before we go in.
to
Yep.
planning.
But as long as they're native plantings, and Inkberry is a native plant, so
Right,
I'm
within the fenced area, under and around the panels, it's pollinating, it's tall herbaceous growth, not shrubbery. Outside the fence, we have a whole series of indigenous shrubs that provide shelter and food for a whole variety of plants. So we've done a buffer zone enhancement program, and that's shown on the plan, specifically each species that is going to be planted all around the array. And within the array, we specify exactly which pollinated plants are to be planted.
Okay. Now, questions. We're close. Jessica?
No questions.
Joe?
None for me.
Jean?
No, thank you.
Autumn?
No questions, thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
Can you just repeat, because I didn't quite hear or understand you. You said the retention basin. Where's the water going to go into?
It's a permeable ground, so it gathers in the retention basin and then soaks into the ground and recharges the groundwater table.
So
That's as opposed to a detention basin, which is mostly what you usually see, where there's a small pipe and it lets the water out. So it modifies the peak rate of flow, but a detention basin puts out a greater volume of flow. This moderates both. It's going to control the rate and the volume.
So basically, the water basically goes into the ground then?
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha, thanks.
Denise?
Are you going for certification under the pollinator-friendly solar arrays through the state, or you're just doing this on your own?
I haven't fully investigated what it takes to get certified, but I'm believing that the applicant does want to get certified.
To go certified through the program? Okay, because that definitely covers a lot of
The planning
rules
board
and
provided us with a
regulations.
lot of literature on getting that certification and also which specific species to plant.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
So I've heard you characterize this as an enhancement or improvement because you're adding pollinator species. But
Yes.
let me ask my question. But what I hear is that you're actually replacing one ecosystem with another. Is that right? We have a forested ecosystem and we're replacing it with a meadow ecosystem?
Right. So right now, because the predominantly pine are growing, they're 65 to 80 foot tall pine, and there's no real understory. In other words, when you're in the woods, you can see 150 feet ahead because there are no shrubs, and there's very little herbaceous growth. So there's no shelter for animals, and there's no food source for animals. So what we're doing is clearing certain areas. The majority of the woods stay there, but there's then a border from the tall trees to the shrubs to the meadow. And a lot of people, Larson, Goulet, in the early 60s and into the 70s, demonstrated that interspersion of vegetation types greatly enhanced habitat value. So in other words, if you had all woods, it wasn't good, and if you had all shrubs, it wasn't good. But when you had a diversity, that borderline was critical to enhanced habitat value, and that's
Right.
what we're providing.
This is what I'm saying. So you're describing what's called a pine barrens ecosystem. And and this is outside our jurisdiction, but I just want to make clear that I don't think enhancement is the right term. I think replacement is the right term. We shouldn't be swayed by this idea, oh, we're going to make it better because we're changing ecosystems. We're just changing ecosystems.
We have a site that is over 60 acres in size, and we're basically doing a 2.5 acre meadow shrub area and a 7. So it's not as if we're taking out half the vegetation or a quarter of the pines. We're taking a small percentage and making a better ecosystem. And there's a continuous band north-south, and there's a band east-west of the pine barrens that will be preserved.
All right. So once again, I'll leave it at this, but when you replace one ecosystem with another, one ecosystem is not better than another, it's just a different ecosystem. They all have their role in our larger environment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that assessment. I think that that's a fair point.
One more question. For Josh, I guess it is. Is there a way to work in that, this certification that they're talking about going for, or making sure that they go for this certification under the pollination?
But that's outside of our jurisdiction.
Is it?
Yes.
But they're telling us that they're making it better because they're going to do this, but we have no guarantee that they're going to do this.
Well, it's outside of our wetland.
Well, no, I mean, what
I
they
don't
put
think so.
underneath
I think
it.
the pollinator plants are being planted in the 100-foot buffer.
But not
Right.
the ones, but not the meadows under the panels. The panels are all
If I may, through the chair, I do believe that will be a condition of the planning board
It
decision.
very well
Um,
could be a condition of the planning board.
Not trying to, as
No,
far
it-
as the plants and the
It's a good
pollinator.
point.
Yep.
And I would be happy to bring that comment to the planning board if that's what the Conservation Commission wants me to do.
Add on.
Yeah, so how about, the recommendation from your commission is to bring that condition to the planning
To the
board?
planning board, just so that we make sure that it actually happens. I mean, you're telling us that you're planning on doing this, but then we really have no guarantees that you're really going to.
It's called a what, pollinator?
It's the best management practices for pollinator-friendly solar arrays.
Sounds
It's a
great.
clean energy extension. Under UMass Amherst is where I found the information on it.
Something tells me that might get to the planning board before I ever bring it there too.
It'll get there.
Yeah,
I
maybe
wonder
over the dinner
how.
table.
Just because they share the same kitchen table. All right. Anybody online to comment on this project? Nope. So Josh, your recommendation?
The recommendation would be to continue 2 more hearings so it could be in front of you for a year. That's,
Nice
I'm being,
try.
yeah, I'm being facetious.
Nice.
They-
Been since
They applied July 23rd
August
of last year.
23 was our first hearing.
Yeah, yep.
Keep it up for you. Thank you.
Uh,
August 16th, 23 was the first hearing. We
Yeah.
could do it a couple more times.
There you
and
go.
We could be,
No, that was a
please.
joke.
Yes, I figured it.
Recommendation is the approval with your standard order of conditions.
And the recommendation that the pollinator be.
I don't think you need to put that
Okay,
in the order of conditions.
So standard order of conditions.
I motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion to close the hearing and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, the hearing's closed.
I motion to approve with the standard order of conditions.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, I think I already asked, sorry. Okay, finally.
Thank you
I
very
hope
much.
I hope planning does the same to you. Even without being buried.
Really burning, no, nobody.
All right, the next, we have 3 over Jordan properties. Is there anybody here for those, or they want continuation?
Cape and Island via Zoom is here.
Okay, so Cape and Island. So the first one is 9 over Jordan Road, Lot G. Is somebody online for them? Please identify yourself. Oh, it's,
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
yes, barely.
Let me see if I can. Well, I'll just try to speak up.
You have to
Good
speak
evening.
up over that Harley that just started underneath our window.
Good evening, Mark Dibb, last name D-I-B-B, with Cape and Islands Engineering, representing the applicant Tom Parento for 9 over Jordan, Lot G. You probably recognize these projects. They're similar to the ones we brought before you a month or so ago. Tonight is a notice of intent for a proposed 4-bedroom dwelling at this parcel. The dwelling will be proposed on piles. There will be a nitrogen reducing IA system for the septic system. There will be roadway surface for driveway will be gravel. The site will contain similar design for roof runoff, which is drip strips under the by way of a gravel trench around the roof lines. Again, similar to the other projects, groundwater is relatively high, and we feel that's the best suitable approach to handle that groundwater. We've also identified the limit of work. We've also made some notes regarding how the property will be developed, because these are large 60,000 square foot parcels. The area within the limit of work, erosion control, is approximately 20,000 of that area. And then we're proposing only a smaller portion of that to actually be lawn and landscaped lawn, sorry. Then of that smaller portion, only about 30%, and these are maximum numbers, it may ultimately be less, would be lawn. And then the area on the outside of any limit of work on this lot will remain wooded. There's a large portion of this lot that's wooded. And then there is portions of it that's been kind of maintained over the years as a grass that will may continue to be maintained as kind of semi-annually or annually as like a meadow, or may be allowed to regrow. We're just focusing on the areas that are proposed to be actual landscape areas. There are no other resource areas or even buffer zones on the property other than land subject to coastal storm flowage. I'd be happy to answer any questions, or I could share my screen, or whoever was sharing the plans before was doing a good job. They could share the plans as well, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So Mark, my comment is, you learned from the previous hearings in front of us and done everything that we've asked on the other houses, so you went to school very well.
Thank you. And these were, you didn't mention them being staked, but I want to confirm that they were staked just prior to the previous hearing, though, because it was continued, correct?
Yeah. they were
Everybody happy
staked,
with
and
the staking?
And I'm going to comment on them in a second, so, anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, a field is a field. Okay. Jessica?
No questions.
Joe?
None for me.
Paula Jean?
No questions, thank you.
Autumn?
Could you please remind me what material you'll be using for your erosion control?
We did not specify, but straw wattles, or if a condition is okay for an or, a silt fence, but not any hay bales or any kind of invasive creating material. But I anticipate either one of those two things.
Yep, that sounds great. Thank you.
Kwame?
No questions, thank you.
Michael?
Okay, thank you again, thank you for staking them. I don't know which lot it was, either GF or E, it was like a month or so ago since I last went out there. But I remember that when I walked either towards the woods or into the woods on the road that maybe is adjacent to the water, not towards Great Neck, but as you go towards the water that faces onset. I don't know the name of that road, but anyway, there seem to be a few stakes out in that wooded area. So there's going to be no development in that wooded area at all. It's just going to be in the grass fields. Is that correct?
This lot, right now we're talking about G. G would be the lot furthest south on over Jordan. So G is the one farthest away from the water. You'll see on the plan, and I could share my screen, but there is a portion of the leach field that is proposed into the woods. So if there were some stakes in the tree line, that is accurate. That's what we proposed. I could share the screen if it's okay with you guys.
Yep, please do.
Okay. I also have Google up too, if you'd like me to go through that. But this is that existing tree line that runs parallel to the road. So about 32 feet, as well as another 20 feet of grading. This area right here is in the tree line.
Oh, okay. All right, so it's just a little bit of area that's in the tree line, and that's it. All right.
Can you show us again what's in the tree line?
Can you see the cursor?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the tree line that runs parallel to over Jordan's right here. This is the tree line. So you'll see basically 32 feet of leach field, as well as another 20 to 30 feet of grading in order to achieve some of the technical details around the septic, the breakout, and things like that. That is proposed.
But all the rest of it, the light green would be cleared?
On this side of the tree line, that's cleared. Area as necessary. We didn't particularly survey every tree of a caliper in that area. Not everything, I don't anticipate them clear cutting it for any reason. They would install the system in order to just get it in there and properly designed. But that's how we've designed it currently.
All right, thank you. And I don't know if Jessica got any more questions, but...
Okay. I mean, that looks like there's a significant area that's going to be clear cut if all that green is going to be non-trees.
He didn't say that. He just said he would clear enough trees in order to put the leach.
The leach field, right,
Yeah.
which is how many square feet is the leach field?
It's 32 by 11, so 300 square feet. I mean, we're happy to take comment from the board. I'm noticing right now there's really nothing stopping me from rotating that leach field to being this direction. And really, it would pull this whole work limit in by at least probably over 50% out of the woods. I don't, if the leach field was, instead of being this direction, was this direction right here, it would be basically The field itself would be halfway out of the tree line, if not even more. And then the grading, I think I could definitely reduce, if that's a concern, we can reduce that disturbance by probably almost 70% in the tree line. If, I don't want to continue or anything like that, but more than happy to make that change and bring it back to the commission if limiting disturbance in the woods is a goal. Obviously, it's a goal of yours, no matter what site it's on. I'd be happy to take a look at that if that's a request.
Denise, any questions?
I do. It's not really questions, but my two concerns with all of these projects has always been the erosion control and making sure that no invasives are introduced, but also the road access for the neighbors and the landowners down the road, which I believe would be to the north. I want to make sure that it's clear that that road stays open and stays accessible for the people who live north of these projects.
You mean over Jordan?
All the way up our road in Jordan, when you're going all the way down towards the water.
Yeah.
There's all kind of people who live down there. I want to make sure that they know that they've got to have this road clear and accessible to the neighbors while they're doing the building.
Oh, I'm sorry. There would be plenty of room for staging area within the existing open field. That could easily be a condition to not block the road.
Thank you.
Scott?
No questions.
Anybody else online? Turn.
Mark, are you representing all the notice of intents that have been in front of the commission for this applicant? And the reason I ask that is the commission had granted an amended order of conditions for the roadway with the removal of trees that were to be replanted. Now that I'm seeing these three plans on the east side of Over Jordan, I have yet to see any plans to replant. I think it was 12 trees total along the roadway.
That's right. When we approved the expansion of Over Jordan and the paving of it, we said they had to do some plantings to replace what was being removed.
So yes, it is essentially the same applicant. I would be more than happy to, make sure those trees are implemented. The middle of the summer coming up, maybe not the best time, but we could. We know that is still an open order and that the trees would be required to close that out. So, and I think I believe it's an intention to do those a little bit later in the season. But yes, I am aware, and I can continue to work with Josh and the applicant regarding that other open order and the trees required.
Yeah, I just didn't see them identified on any of these plans, and now that this is both sides of the road, I think it's important to address them. I think Paula Jean's comments are probably global to all three of the applications in front of us tonight. So maybe it would be appropriate to, get all three of those addressed and maybe put some of the plantings on these plans as well.
So,
That's fine. Yep.
so we're going to continue the hearing for those two changes to the plans at Lot G.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can it be done, Mark? Can you do it in 2 weeks?
When's your deadline prior to the hearing, typically?
It would be 1 week. So new material information we would need by the 10th to consider it on the 17th.
We should go to the next one beyond that.
Yeah, vacation time.
Exactly.
So our next hearing would be August 7th.
Okay.
Right.
So is that to say that on all of them, where there's an opportunity to swing the leach field over out of the tree line to make those changes on all of them?
Well, we'll look at each one of them. They may not be in the same tree line that this is.
But anything to save some trees
Yeah,
is gonna...
but that would be the intent, is to save trees. So I'll need a motion to continue until August 7.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstained. We have continued until 8/7. The next hearing is on 9 over Jordan, Lot F.
Again, Mark Dibb. I'm going to just share my screen for that one, if that's okay. Let me make sure this is F. Yes, so same proposal. This one as well could benefit from that change. So I will do that. And I don't know, for the record, should I recap the project?
Yes, please. We'll have
Okay.
to put it in the minutes.
Okay. Again, it's a 4-bedroom, single-family house proposed. It's a notice of intent for a 4-bedroom, single-family house proposed on piles. The only resource area on the site is land subject to coastal storm flowage. There are no other resource areas or buffer zones on the project. A gravel surface driveway is proposed. Drip edge drainage is proposed. A Title V IA septic system is proposed, as well as a work area is shown. Erosion control will be either straw wattle or silt fence, as well as a maximum amount of lawn area is proposed by way of 30%. So only 30% of this green area might be lawn. The rest will either be meadow, similar to what it was, or some kind of landscaping. And again, I think we will revise the plan to reflect most likely turning, if not even sliding, the leach field a little bit out of the tree line as much as we can. And I feel comfortable we can reduce almost 70 or 80% of that disturbance in the tree line. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Okay. Questions?
I'm just commenting that that's great because the wildlife on Great Neck are running out of places to live.
Okay. So, any additional questions that we didn't ask on Lot G? If not, I will ask for a continuance until August 7.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, we would like to continue to August 7th.
I motion to continue until August 7th.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. We'll continue it until August 7th. Next up is 9 over Jordan Road, Lot F, Lot E.
Again, for the record, Mark Dibb at Cape and Islands Engineering. I'm going to share my screen. So Lot E is the last one on the east side of Over Jordan to the north, closer to the water, before the existing permitted driveway for the other houses in this overall general area. Again, it's a notice of intent for a 4-bedroom pile-supported house. It will have a nitrogen-reducing IA system. It will have gravel driveway access. And again, we've identified a landscape footprint that within a work limit erosion control. And this one, again, the system is proposed. This one, there's the tree line varies a little bit more. It's not straight anymore. There's a tree line here. And just one minor component of all these is the pipe is some grading associated with the pipe that comes from the house in order to feed gravity to this system. So, I mean, it would look maybe good to put the system way over here, but again, we're trying to keep it in close proximity to the back of the house. So I think, again, we try to rotate it into this area. So this one might have a little bit more natural tree line disturbance, but again, we'll try to minimize that. I do have the house at 62 feet off the road where 60 is required, so I can't push it too much further that way, but we'll make every effort to reduce disturbance to natural area. I mean, maybe this one, I can see if the applicant might be willing to, not that it'd be technically required by your board, but some even beyond the 12 trees that were discussed for the roadway, implement some restoration per se of this area. I will see if I can make that part of the proposal, since this will have more vegetative disturbance. But I'd be happy to answer any questions before requesting a continuance to the 7th.
Is there any additional questions that we haven't already asked? Yes, Scott.
Just wondering, so you stipulated there's a gravel driveway for all three of these lots, is that correct?
Correct.
How long does it take before the gravel driveways become impermeable with people, with driving vehicles on them?
Not long, to be honest. A gravel driveway would do two things. After the initial installation, it would allow some infiltration of that runoff. Once it becomes clogged or compacted, relatively hard packed, stabilized, it still reduces the quickness that the water runs off that gravel. It's not the exact sheet flow off pavement. So even if some of the infiltration capacity is lost, it still helps to slow down runoff a little bit. But the honest answer is something that's being driven, a gravel area being driven on, in my opinion, is pretty quick to not infiltrate runoff.
How does that compare with the permeable asphalt?
The permeable asphalt is, in my opinion, would infiltrate better over time. You can, it needs to be maintained. It does need to be vacuumed and cleaned out, but it's a more, it is placed on, especially when it's new construction, it is placed on gravel in different layers that are allowed, that are specifically designed to continue to infiltrate. So, it is, in my opinion, a permeable pavement would infiltrate better. These lots, this driveway is a pretty small portion of it, and it's surrounded by both this landscape area, as well as there's also buffers that won't be particularly mowed weekly or even monthly. So I do feel that there's so much, these lots are 60,000 square feet. I just wouldn't be too concerned regarding the gravel driveway, but I'd be happy to answer any questions on that.
Did you get your answer?
I did, thank you.
Madam Chair, through you.
Yeah.
Mark, what kind of damage does a street sweeper do to these permeable asphalt roads? I got to imagine with it being porous and those metal bristles going over it, do you see any increased wear?
They're pretty, they're hard. There's not a lot of over years, you don't see a lot of wear like that. I do think that a street sweeper is obviously not the way to try to clean a permeable asphalt. But I also don't see the bristle. It's still asphalt, and it's very, very solid and difficult to modify it. So, no, I don't see them as damaging it, but it's not a proper maintenance either.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would be concerned about a permeable asphalt in this area, would be subject to flooding and therefore having a lot of sand coming into this area, plugging it up quicker.
We've required a permeable asphalt on the roadway. You're aware of that, correct?
I didn't hear that.
We did, years,
Yeah, that's what the
Yeah,
original order of
the
conditions
original
was
order
for.
of
So
conditions,
over Jordan is a permeable,
permeable asphalt.
which
yes.
means they're going to have to bring in a vacuum.
I have,
Oh, wait.
I saw a video of that road, the so-called permeable asphalt road going in over Jordan Road. A video of water being poured onto that asphalt and just pooling and staying there, and it didn't look very permeable to
Well-
me. I don't know if that's been brought to anyone's attention.
That could be addressed when they come to us for the
Order
order
for
from COC.
determination of applicability.
Certificate of compliance. Certificate of compliance.
Thank you, I knew
Right.
there was another word that I
I knew
was
it was
thinking.
COC, but I couldn't remember what it stood for.
Okay, so if there's nothing else here, I think we'll take a motion to continue until 8/7.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. We'll continue. We have 5 certifications of compliance requests.
Thank you.
They're all the same, but I will take them one at a time. I did a site visit for each one and found them to be in compliance. So I recommend issuing a certificate of compliance to 12 Shanley Way, SE 762787.
I need someone to say so moved.
So moved.
I have a motion. And a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. Next, please.
I make the recommendation to issue a certificate of compliance for 21 Bayberry Road, SE 0762795.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600.
I make a recommendation to issue a certificate of compliance for 6 Preservation Lane, SE 0762514.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 600. Next, please.
Recommendation to issue a certificate of compliance for 6 Preservation Lane, SE 0762635.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, abstained. Next, please.
And this final one, 17 Atlantic Avenue, SE 076742. Recommend the issuance of a certificate of compliance.
Before we vote, 742?
Yeah, it's an old one.
I was going to say.
It's a very old one.
Okay, sorry. I had a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 6. What was 17 Atlantic Ave for?
I think it was for the original septic. I could find very
742.
little actual information on it.
Wow.
But in the global review of the property, I found that it was probably in substantial compliance.
Maybe something's going, okay,
The state didn't even recognize that it was a notice of intent.
it was that old. All right. Is there any reason to talk about anything for continued enforcement? There's nothing new on here unless you want to talk about 200 Great Neck Road?
They're working with their engineer. The flags are hung for the wetland, if you want to go look at them, but they're working with an engineer to get that addressed.
So everything is work in progress.
I have another enforcement, I don't know when I'm supposed to bring that
I
up.
can't hear you.
I have another enforcement issue, I don't know when I'm supposed to bring that up within our
We'll bring it up under new business.
new business?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Which do we-
Okay. Report
Okay, no administrative approvals. The bylaw revision update, as you know, the consultant disappeared. I don't know where she went. So I took that upon myself, and I'm gonna have a draft ready for the commission any day now.
Thank you. Is that the 61-page one?
Rules and regulations of the commission.
Yes, all right. 140 Tyhonet, did you want to just acknowledge the trolling?
Yeah, so this is a solar project that you all had approved a long time ago. You know, they were held up in litigation, and they were held up as part of their, I think, their interconnect agreement with Eversource. After talking to our town council, tolling for those reasons is appropriate from the commission. And he suggested that you allow for the tolling of this project.
Do you need a vote on that, or just is acknowledged that is, everything was delayed because of court issues, and it's now been resolved?
Right, I would say that's appropriate. I don't think you need well, actually, the lawyer representing 140 is online. Maybe he wants to give his opinion of what's required.
Please bring him on.
Mr. Sampson, if you're there, we're going to invite you to be a participant.
You're muted.
Well, it doesn't show that you're muted, but we can't hear you.
Cannot hear you.
Go ahead.
How's that?
Better.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate your time and the commission's time tonight. We would appreciate if it's okay, now that we have the litigation is actually over, we have a date that we'd like to establish as the date that the 3-year term commenced, which was March 15th of this year. If the commission can acknowledge that, that'd be great, because that gives us a set 3-year window for the work to be done under this order.
So the request is for the Conservation Commission to confirm that the OOC issued under the WWPB is effective as of March 15th, 2024, and that the expiration date has been moved to March 15th, 2027. That is your request.
Yes, Ms. Chairman. Woman.
I need a motion. So moved. I have that motion. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? You have it formally that your expiration date is now 2027.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Have a good 4th. It's
You
almost
too.
here.
Good luck with the rest of the night.
Okay, we have a set of minutes from June 5th, 2024. I had a couple adjustments to it. I don't know whether or not you want to approve these with these amendments on it, or wait to see them rewritten. Here, Autumn and Denise were here. They were not absent. On 370 County Road, it was Amy Tamaginney, not Amy T. Number 7 on the enforcement line was 73 Leonard, which was resolved under the notice of intent done earlier in the meeting. Josh's report on the Buzzards Bay Coalition Wee Antic project sort of gave me an impression that all 1,600 acres were in town of Wareham, and it's not. The total project is 1,600 acres. It was written to make me think there was 1,600 acres in Wareham, as opposed to,
I think it's like 700 or something.
well, that's in Carver and Wareham. I think we're about 300 and something in Wareham, but I don't know the specific amount. But I think if we just say the total project is 1,600 acres, not just Wareham, and we approve the holding of the CR on that. And the May 15 minute votes were 601. It needs an extra space.
Was there a section on there also that opened something twice? It was opened and
Yeah,
then...
you had made that comment in an
Right, did
email.
Well, we tabled something, then we brought it back from
Yeah,
tabling.
but something was, that wasn't it, what it was. This was like open twice.
I didn't pick it up.
I'll correct it in the minutes.
You
Not a
want to
problem.
make a motion to accept those minutes with these modifications?
That's fine.
Or do you want to wait to see a new one?
No, it's fine.
So moved.
I have a
I got all of
motion
them.
to accept the minutes of June 5th with these modifications. I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
I opposed, abstain. I'll make sure I read them fast.
No worries. I have
Okay.
YouTube. I can pause, rewind, fast
Oh, that's
forward.
right, too, you can listen. All right, we're down to one thing. Every year we reorganize.
Two things. I have an enforcement.
All right, are we down into, we haven't gone down to number 7 yet, we're doing number 6.
Okay. Just so
Number
you know.
7 is reorganization of the Conservation Commission. Chair, Vice Chair, and Clerk. I'd like to stay as Chair. Kwame? You want Clerk?
Vice Chair. Vice Chair.
And Carol, I'm sorry you're not here. You're going to continue as clerk. So I'd like to take a motion to accept that reorgan...
So moved, second.
Yep. All in favor that we...
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, then we stay unchanged. Now we're in number 7. Any other Conservation Commission business not reasonably accepted in 48 hours? Your turn, Denise.
When Kwame and I were out looking at 6 Wareham Lakeshore Drive, we saw some enforcement issues at 10 Wareham Lakeshore Drive. If you could address those, there was...
Those have been outstanding for a long time, and we never followed up on them.
No?
10 Lakeshore, Wareham Lakeshore
You
Drive.
could see the boats, you can see the
Boats,
boat
and there's a
dock, a little,
shed
yes.
right on the water's
Yep.
edge.
That's all 10, and it was brought to our attention, and it was associated with the accessibility of an elderly gentleman.
Correct.
That's why there was a platform down in the water. That's why the boats were up on
Right,
racks
but he had
close
been
by the water.
asked at
But
that
we
time-
never followed up with
He
10.
was asked to move that shed, and he was asked to move the kayaks.
We never formally
Well,
finished
then I'd
that
like to bring the
enforcement
enforcement
order.
forward.
I'm
When
trying
was
to...
this? This wasn't when I was here.
No.
I don't
Oh,
know.
no.
Oh, okay.
I would have to go looking as to find a date, so I will put a date of 10,
Okay.
because I drove by and I said, we didn't follow up on that one. It was too hard. I felt uncomfortable doing anything. Yeah. Because of the elderly gentleman wanting access to the
Well,
water.
I didn't see the dock this time.
It was
I'm
just a
talking
little
ab-
walkway,
I-
yeah.
I'm talking about the shed and the kayaks that are at the water's edge that we had asked to have moved. And it was not done, so I think we need to do something
How long ago
formally
was
about
this?
it. About a year.
It looks like the
No,
shed.
no.
When did you come into
Wasn't it a couple
play?
years
At
ago?
least 2 years ago.
When
Yeah,
did-
because it looks like the shed was built in like 2020.
Yeah, we went back and looked at maps.
This was at least 2 years ago, if
Let's
not
see.
3.
I haven't been here for 2 years yet.
No, you haven't.
No.
I'd like to know your definition of elderly and what I can get away with.
No. This
No, you're
was,
not old
this
enough.
was somebody who could not get around.
He has,
Yeah. It was,
he has his issues, but that has
mobility
nothing to
issues.
do with the shed and the kayak. The little dock thing was so that he could get into the water.
yeah, so he could get into the.
Correct.
Yes, somebody older than me.
But also,
Okay. Want me to find out the date when we had the hearing on 10? It could very well be in that disk drive I gave you from David.
Okay. I'll take a look.
Okay, was there anything else?
Yes, just,
Yes.
Madam Chairperson, how would we go about looking into whether or not the contractor who put in the road, the pavement on Over Jordan Road, did indeed use pervious or impervious pavement? I can pass the video around, I think, so that it's
But
an
who's-
open meeting, all of us, or what, I mean, why do we proceed with that? Or what happens when there's an order of conditions and people go, okay, wink, and they do something else? That may or may not be the case here, but how is that handled?
So the commission has the ability to regulate any open order of conditions. So if you feel that it's something isn't being adhered to under the order of conditions, you can ask for them to, prove that it is. So how would you prove that this is some type of pervious asphalt? You could ask the applicant, was it done correctly? That's one way, yeah.
A video.
Right, you could ask that. You could ask for proof that it was done, maybe a construction company's bill of sale or something like that.
You mean me personally, or you mean
The,
us?
the,
as
the
a-
commission, yeah.
Okay.
The commission through me is the
Yeah,
appropriate way.
okay.
Or you could take it one step further and you say, we want you to hire a consultant to go review the road and
Determine.
give us a determination of if it's built correctly.
Well, if we don't do that ever, does that behoove people to do their projects as they see fit and there is no oversight? I mean, is that important that we do that type of thing?
So you could do it now, or when they come forward with the order of, or the certificate of compliance request, you could have it addressed then. We won't issue the certificate of compliance until you prove that XYZ was accomplished correctly.
Has
And you-
anybody ever seen water poured onto pervious pavement as to what happens?
Yeah, have a picture of it.
Of what it's supposed to happen?
No, I have
you
what
see is
happens.
What's happening,
Yeah.
but I don't know what's supposed to happen if water is poured on pervious pavement.
Bet we could Google it.
I was gonna say, YouTube is pretty good.
We gotta ask the 8-ball, I mean Google.
Yeah, YouTube might provide some videos.
Yeah.
I do,
Keep that in mind. I know, I'm on.
Madam Chair was correct. 10 Wareham Lakeshore Drive was brought up on May 19th, 2021.
Thank you.
A19.
I guess I should update. What she has in her hand is a list of outstanding enforcement orders that were put on a lot of different agendas that are still outstanding, and I guess I should update it. It's been,
That would be good. I
haven't not done, when is the last time? A year and a half ago, I think, the last time? If I haven't deleted it.
I have one more item I'd like, I don't know what's
Yes.
the best way to do it. Josh and I have talked about this a little bit, is when there's a planting plan, when people say they're going to put in such and such trees or shrubs or whatever, sometimes we just get, we're going to put high bush blueberry in, or we're going to put an ash tree in or whatever. And what I would like is to require the botanical name, the Latin name, the formal name rather than just an informal name, because these other names that we go by they're common names, they're informal names, and you can't really pin someone down if they put the wrong one in. Oh, that's what I call bearberry. Well, that's not really bearberry.
I believe if you look at most of the plans, they will give you both names, the common and the Latin name.
Yep.
Because they'll be they'll be listed, so,
Right, and it'd be nice if it wasn't just most of them, if it were all of
well,
them.
everyone I've seen that has planting has given me both names. One I can't pronounce and one I recognize.
Okay.
But if you get plans, they don't do that, we will ask for it to be expanded.
For you to remember.
Or you
Yes.
can establish it in your rules and regs,
One more, don't make it page 62 for this one.
Can I check in on guidance around solar? Is there any new
The guidance around solar you're going to be looking for is not in favor of what you want. I think if it hasn't already happened, I haven't looked into it. If it hasn't already happened, they're pulling all the home rule authority away from towns on solar. So
the planning won't be able to do any approval for site planning, that type of stuff.
COMCOM won't be able
And neither
to
COMCOM can't do any
enforce
restriction.
bylaw.
So is that analogous to agricultural exemptions, something like that?
It's like a 40B.
Yeah,
It's like a 40B for housing. Shoved down your throat. Sorry. I should have muted myself on that comment. All right, anything
so
else?
there's no recourse, no nothing?
Not that I know of. And town council is very concerned about it as well. Yeah, no, never mind. We're good.
So, anything else?
A motion to adjourn?
I have a motion at 8:40.
40?
I have a motion. I heard a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Fourth.
Everybody have a good 4th, only it's a couple hours away. I did not expect this one to last this long.
I didn't either. I thought this
You
was going
did?
to be a quick
Yeah,
night.
yeah.
Oh, I was sort of hoping it would be quicker.
knew it was
It was 2 weeks worth of, 2 meetings worth of material.
So, thank you, folks.